Hello, my name is Sandy Fivecoat, and I'll be your host today. In this video, we'll be discussing the adoption of the Common Core curriculum and the increased focus on reading, writing, research skills, particularly on the importance of nonfiction to achieve those goals. Our goal for the podcast, of course, is to highlight any digital solutions that you might use that might bring nonfiction to life for your students to help them become successful readers and writers. So I'm really pleased to let you all know that we have a real expert on the phone today for this podcast. Joining me in this discussion is Susan Ennis, who is a school librarian from Harmony, Pennsylvania. Susan, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Great. Let's jump right into this discussion because I think it's something that's of high value for teachers today. There's so much discussion about Common Core standards, and so many states are moving rapidly to adopt those standards, both in curriculum and assessment. But let's talk specifically about the role of nonfiction in the context of these Common Core standards. How do you see that role, Sue?
You know, that what the Common Core does with nonfiction is it allows teachers to bring in other resources in addition to maybe their textbook or there's something that they're using as an assessment across the board in their classroom or in their school. It allows them to bring in nonfiction text and multimedia and look at websites and do web quests where students are looking at those topics more in depth. For example, looking at biomes of the world in a science class. They get to look at them in their area of the world. You can go on to an electronic database such as Grolier Online, or you can go on to the Monterey Bay Aquarium website and watch a live feed. And allows students to not just learn about their topic, but it provides articles and news stories, and even maybe magazine articles, periodical articles, that allow them to have a piece of reading. And when the students have in their hand a piece of reading, and it's a piece of nonfiction, the teachers have already started to meet those Common Core standards. And then when they guide them to understand the viewpoint of the author and to become more independent in their understanding of what they've read, then they are definitely meeting those Common Core standards with their students.
That's a great summary of the role of nonfiction. Let's talk a little bit about tools. I know that's what teachers always say, okay,
yes.
I get the importance.
Give me the
how
stuff.
do I do it? Yeah, give me the stuff. I can't create it all myself. So what kind of tools do you recommend that could be used to help students reach these key benchmarks that are related to nonfiction in the Common Core?
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, I think it's important, even in 2012, to still have a combination of print and electronic resources. The print resources in our school libraries, print resources are plentiful and they're credible and they are very reliable and accurate. But what the electronic resources today really add to that is the currency. They're accurate, reliable, credible sources, but they have currency that you cannot always find in a print resource. For example, the difference between an online encyclopedia versus a print encyclopedia, even once it's printed, there's something that could have changed. When I present to our students and teachers, especially to the teachers, I say, you have access to databases through your school library, through your school websites, through companies. And on these databases, everything's in one place. For example, in our district, we're using Grolier Online very successfully. And much like other databases, Grolier actually has encyclopedia articles, but they also have updated articles. And when you go to their site, there's actually a link that says new articles. So if a teacher's been working throughout a thematic unit on some topic related to social studies, and then they want to bring in something new, they can quickly find those new articles. Another thing is the databases such as Grolier Online, as well as many of their competitors, they actually give you fast facts and news stories. And most importantly, I think for teachers, I need to know that I'm giving these students an assignment or access to a website that I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about them stumbling into something inappropriate or there being any controversial questions about it. And when you use the websites that are chosen by these highly reliable companies, then you have that security of knowing that you're getting not just appropriate information, which is a small concern, but more importantly, you're getting information where the content is accurate, reliable, current, and matches your curricular goals. If I were teaching school today in the middle of July or this summer, I would be talking about the Olympics. And if you would go into a database, you would use their search bar and type in that word Olympics, and immediately you get results. Having one place to go to get multimedia, to get encyclopedia articles that are current and historic, to get magazine and other periodical articles, websites, and then the current events or up-to-date facts, having that one location is the biggest time saver for teachers. And that's why we love Grolier Online in our school. And more importantly, the databases that are available for our students today and for our teachers to use with their students, they are aligned to the state standards, the Common Core standard, and they give read-aloud options. They give Lexile levels so that students that are developing readers, especially those middle years, let's say like 4th through 8th grade, it's just amazing how the reading levels of students in one classroom can be so diverse at those age levels. And it gives students a discrete way to finding something to read and understand on their own level. Because then getting back to the Common Core, they have to be able to independently understand and draw from that nonfiction in order to create a piece of writing, a presentation, or just prepare for an assessment at the end of a unit of study. I think that librarians can gather as many database options, electronic resources, and obviously recommended websites in one place as possible, whether it be a library homepage or some other electronic version of what they're doing in their school, whether it be a homework page, homework help. But teachers have the websites that they know are the most credible. And if they can share those and put them in a place, like, for example, on a science department page or at the elementary level, at a grade level page, at the 3rd grade level page, and knowing that they're all going to hit certain units of study in a year and relate those units of study obviously to the Common Core standards, they can create a mini database of their favorite websites. And all you need to do that, because teachers, I tell people all the time that are not teachers, and recently spoke to some business people, and I said, no matter what you hear teachers say, the biggest problem in education is that teachers don't have the time in a day to really create and prepare as much as they want to. And they do as much as they can with the time they have, but they have to stop at a certain point and just go. When you have a database, which is, I think right now, databases are ranking above websites for educational uses because they're guaranteed to have the exact match of information that the teachers need to meet their curricular standards and to achieve with the Common Core. And so I think that databases rank higher a little bit in esteem right now than websites. Mm-hmm. So if a school has access to a database, they need to remember that it's for remote use as well, for students to continue using at home, for the learner that has some special needs who may need more time to sit with headphones and do a read-aloud option. But more importantly, the teachers have access to it remotely.
Right.
So if they're working on their lesson plans on a Sunday afternoon after NFL football, they can actually just go to one place and have it.
Right.
And I just want to say real quickly, again, with the way times are, public libraries and college libraries often have databases that can be accessed as well, especially when they know you're from a school. A lot of teachers do graduate work, and so they have access to what college libraries have. And what I love about today's electronic resources, especially in the last couple of years, is that they are all leveled. So if you go access a database, such as Grolier Online, through a college, you can level it down to the middle school or elementary school level. You're not limited just because you're at a college link.
That's really good help. What I heard you say is these tools really have broad reach because they save teachers time and they have a direct impact on the classroom. I mean, to me, those are the two big takeaways from everything you just said, with also some great tips at how to get to those tools.
Excuse me, I want to add one more thing.
Sure.
Because of budgets and being accountable for spending your money today, I just want to throw in real quickly, any product that you can find out there that's in the form of an electronic database or an online book or e-books or so on, all companies will offer a free trial I'd like to encourage librarians for sure, but also teachers and department chairs and principals, ask for the free trial. Often they offer a 30-day free trial, but that's only 18 to 20 days of school. So don't be afraid to reach out and say, I really need a 60-day free trial. They will give it to you, but you have to ask. Ask for the free information to gather your data before you purchase something or decide to use it with your students.
Oh, that's great advice. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about nonfiction outside of reading and writing, not just in the English language arts. But as a librarian, how do you help teachers look at Common Core requirements from a cross-curricular perspective?
It's funny because with all the changes in moving to the Common Core and the anxiety sometimes that comes with, another change, this is one of the easiest things. Reading nonfiction lets students understand the difference between fact and opinion, and it also lets them, especially at those formative years, it allows them to start to discern what the viewpoint of an author or the perspective of an author versus the fact that they can react to what they're reading. And when I say react, I mean from everything from the core of comprehending what they've read, because when you have very factual information provided, students sometimes don't know exactly what to zero in on. And this goes right back to what teachers are emphasizing with students about key words and key sentences that have the main ideas and paragraph structure. And the reading of nonfiction goes right into the writing of anything with students. But they have to react with a piece of text in any format. They need to understand the facts. They need to comprehend the point of view. And then the part that I love is that they get to critique what's there. They don't have to just accept it blindly like, oh, yes, everyone in China does this in school. They can actually say, I wonder why they do this in school. Why do they go to school longer than we do, for example? And that sparks wonderful curiosity with our learners, and then you can just guide them to the next piece, the more in-depth study again, like I mentioned earlier, going deeper into their content knowledge. And the other thing about nonfiction is its authenticity. Students today have grown up with the Internet their entire life. Even the youngest of our teachers didn't hit the Internet until about 6th, 7th grade. It's only been about, 15 years. But students today, a 15-year-old is a 9th grader. So our students have grown up with the Internet, and they are very adept at locating information. But what teachers have to continue to do with them, and the Common Core speaks directly to this, they have to make sure the students are discerning whether it's accurate, credible information, and that's often because of the source. When you pull nonfiction articles and ask students to look through them, you're basically giving them pieces of textbooks. And textbooks have always been kind of daunting to students if they're thick and large. But an individual nonfiction article that they have in front of them, or a packet of articles that are related to each other that they can move through as they move through a unit with the guidance of their teacher, that allows them to have a less overwhelming start to their learning experience.
Boy, really great comments. Thanks so much, Susan. Well, that's all the time we have today. Susan, thank you again for joining this conversation.
Oh, you're welcome.
We hope our listening audience will stay tuned for our top 3 you should know facts about the Common Core and nonfiction. And we'd love to hear from you. So if you have feedback or suggested topics you'd like to see us cover in a future Wattcast, we hope you will email us at wattcast@weareteachers.com. Thanks again, Susan, and goodbye to our audience.